Now hear from the New Zealand Indonesia Association, and I see we have two of our excellencies in the room. Would you mind coming to the table, please, for your submission? Thank you. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. Selamat
Apa kabar?
Baik. Oh.
Thank you very much for your submission. We have received your written submission, so you can consider it. But if you would like to speak, make some main points on your submission, but perhaps leave us a little bit of time for questions, but it's entirely up to you. And your time is all for you.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair. Selamat pagi. And members of the Select Committee of the Strengthening the Foreign Language Learning second in primary and second intermediate school. Sorry, my name is Rito Triumbarto, and I'm the Vice President of New Zealand Indonesia Association, who sent in the submission that we would like to support. I'm here to explain our reasons for putting this submission forward, and we are available to assist and to coordinate any progress. As you may understand from my name and accent, I was born in Indonesia, but now I live in Wellington and my children are at school here. I'm sure you understand that skilled immigrants are an important part of New Zealand's economic development. We come here and we work many jobs and we slip between languages with our family and friends. Our language is a huge part of our identity. It is a major part of who we are as a people, yet it is not formally acknowledged by the New Zealand education system. We speak Bahasa Indonesia, and the root language of for Bahasa Indonesia is Bahasa Melayu or Bahasa Malay. This language is spoken in Indonesia, Malaysia. It is one of 4 formally recognized languages of Singapore and spoken in Sultanate of Brunei Darussalam. And it is also understood in Thailand. As we said in the NZIA submission, this is the key language of ASEAN countries. And this area is an economic powerhouse and the world's 7th largest economy. Not only would formal recognition of Bahasa Malay and their culture acknowledge the role of these immigrant groups, but it also assists the people of Aotearoa, New Zealander, in understanding this part of Asia. For as we all know, that when you learn a language, you learn a culture, and understanding grows from there. To close my speech, let me express my great appreciation to Madam Chair and members of the Select Committee in Bahasa Indonesia. Terima kasih atas kesempatan yang berharga ini. Semoga anak-anak di Selandia Baru mendapatkan sahabat baru dan membuka dunia baru dengan menguasai bahasa kedua di sekolah. Do I need to translate that? Oh, okay. Thank you for this precious opportunity. May the kids in New Zealand find a new friend and opens new world by learning and mastering second language in their schools. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih banyak.
Sama-sama.
Would any of your excellencies like to contribute? Or yes?
So, Excellency Madam Chair and Excellency members of the Parliament, I feel very thankful of being given an opportunity to be here in the Parliament, being an MP before becoming an ambassador for 10 years. So coming back and attending a sessions like this, it's like coming back home. And it makes me wanting to go back to the Parliament after finishing my term as an ambassador here. It's nice to be an MP. Right. Like Rito said, Malay is the root of some languages in ASEAN countries, and Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language is one of those. So we recognize Indonesian language, or we call it Bahasa Indonesia, and then Malaysian language, Brunei language, and also Singapore language to some certain extent is other languages whose roots is Malay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the Select Committee. I just would like to add a little bit on why we support Rito on behalf of the community in submitting this proposal is because we think there is a lot of connection between Indonesia, ASEAN as the whole and New Zealand. In particularly culturally, I think Malay-speaking group in ASEAN country has a lot of similarity. Even if you read our language, there is a lot of similarity with the Maori language.
Yeah.
So I think this is an important language to learn and to understand or build relationship between New Zealand and ASEAN in the future, because we are the closest neighbors after Australia and Pacific to New Zealand. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just for my own knowledge, because I don't know, when was it taken out of the curriculum? That's not that long ago, was it? Do you know when it was?
When is that? Really?
So just last January, Madam Chair, we came to Ministry of Education because they want to review the remaining Bahasa Indonesia NZIA assessment test there. And then there were 33, and 4 years ago it went down to 18, and now they want to review because there is no demand for Indonesian language in NZIA in secondary schools. So I think this bill will bring us hope that our children will understand that they have neighbors, they have Indonesia, they have Malaysia, they have Singapore that speaks, because Malay language is considered to be the easiest language to learn outside the non-speaking citizen or non-speaking population, non-English speaking population, sorry. So yeah, I think just last year they review the remaining 18 NZIA in the secondary, and I think they will remove it because there is no demand. If there is demand, the school doesn't want to offer it to the students because they don't have enough resources for either the books or the teacher.
Sure. Thank you very much. We have a last question from Angela Roberts.
Oh, you might have already answered it. Morning. Thank you. Really compelling arguments for the cultural connection as well as, you know, the trade, you know, all the arguments for our New Zealanders to retain their language, as well as for those of us for whom it isn't a first language to learn it. Really compelling. You said one driver of the prioritising of language for schools is where they end up at the end of the pathway, the qualifications. But right at the end, I was going to ask, so if the legislation gets passed, can you see that's going to flick a switch and Malay will then be offered in schools? Or do you think there are other barriers to the provision of that language teaching within schools? You touched on it right at the end with resourcing.
We have a full support from the government of Indonesia as the most country that speaks the language, and also Malaysia about the resources and the teacher. And we have the assurance from the government of Indonesia and also the government of Malaysia to send necessary resources in terms of materials and teachers. So, and also this bill will give hopes for parents, Indonesian parents mostly, because their children don't speak Bahasa Indonesia anymore after they enter the primary. They don't have friends that knows Indonesia. They don't have. They just speak within the family. But after second, third year in the primary, they don't use Bahasa Indonesia anymore at home at all. So this bill will give hope that they will reconnect to their root, and they always think that they are New Zealander, but they always have a place back home in Indonesia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for the time that you took to submit and come to address the committee. Selamat jalan.
Terima kasih. Selamat makan.
I hope so.